Hi, David.
Hi, my little whippersnapper. How are you?
Little whippersnapper? Good. Pretty good. A little bit offended now, but
What, whippersnapper? Do you not like whippersnapper?
I don't know. It's similar vibe-wise to pipsqueak. But maybe whippersnapper is also like something a crotchety old drunk would call like someone skateboarding past. And in many ways, that does echo our dynamic, I'd say.
The reason I'm calling you today is to inquire whether you remember anything about a movement called Kony 2012.
I do. Yep. Of course I remember Kony. Yep.
So this was an incredibly American movement that obviously hit New Zealand. What are your memories of it? Like, what comes to the surface the quickest?
This is actually a super embarrassing topic for me because you were immediately skeptical of Kony 2012 in a way that probably does credit to you. And I feel like I got way more stuck in it. And I watched the full 26 minutes or something. I was like, this Kony thing does seem really bad. What was this? Like, you could not do that today, right? 26 minutes of just talking about this really bad guy in a part of Africa, and then everyone in the world has watched it and is starting posting about make Kony famous or something. It was absolutely wild idiocy in retrospect.
It is mad how viral that went. Like, it was everywhere. It was crazy.
It's probably my most embarrassing thing. I feel like I did post something about Kony 2012, and I'm just like, I can't even believe. Like, I'm disgusted when I think of the person that I once was. I feel like you've picked this topic because, like, you're good on this. You've done so many embarrassing things and got so many things wrong in your life, like, on a daily basis, minute to minute, really. But this one, you were perfect on, and so congratulations on picking the topic on this. I'm not sure, in retrospect, why the t-shirts were going to help. Like, has Kony been tracked down? Is he still doing stuff?
No, he's still on the loose. Kony's still out there.
So he's very famous, which is the point of that campaign. We were trying to make Kony famous, but that has not apparently, giving him a celebrity status has not apparently ended his war crimes.
No, it did raise a lot of money for invisible children, which is possibly a good thing. Some would argue they're not sure, but there is that.
Yeah, it was all a bit of a questionable phenomenon. And it was that first taste of virality, right? Where we kind of had these viral causes. And everyone was kind of libbing out at the time. It was probably liberal cultural ascendancy. It's like almost either the first beginnings of liberal cultural ascendancy or the peak of it. I'm not really sure. And that everyone was it was an optimistic time in that sense, and now it's almost the opposite. It's fascist cultural ascendancy. Now you have conservatives cancelling Cracker Barrel. That's the culture now. So in many ways, take us back to Kony. It was kind of nice. At least we're trying to do something nice rather than get a white guy back on the Cracker Barrel logo. Like, that's the thing that we do now. What the fuck is even happening? Idiots. Cancel culture gone wild.
I'm David Farrier. A New Zealander accidentally marooned in America, and I want to figure out what makes this country tick. Now, today, I want to rewind back to 2012, when a lot of things were happening here in America. Back in 2012, Barack Obama had been elected president for a second time and became the first sitting US president to support gay marriage. Hurricane Sandy caused massive damage, tearing across the East Coast and savaging New York. And the Sandy Hook Elementary School shooting took place, killing 26 and 7-year-olds and 7 adults, causing America to do, as always, absolutely nothing about it. And something else happened in America in 2012, and its ripples were felt across the world, even in faraway magical places like New Zealand. Because on March 5th, 2012, a group called Invisible Children released a documentary on YouTube called Kony 2012. The video went viral, becoming the first ever video to reach 1 million likes on YouTube, the speediest ever to reach 100 million views. A Pew Research poll at the time indicated more than half of young adults in America had heard about Kony 2012 in the days following its release. Justin Bieber, Kim Kardashian, Rihanna, and Oprah all tweeted wildly about it. The film, clocking in at just under 30 minutes, was about a man called Joseph Kony, Ugandan warlord who founded the Lord's Resistance Army, an army well known for using child soldiers. Over 25 years, the LRA had killed more than 100,000 people, abducted 70,000 more, and forced more than 2 million from their homes. Many of the abducted were children. They were forced to become soldiers in the army, losing lives and limbs in the process. Kony was indicted in 2005 for crimes against humanity by the International Criminal Court, but has never been apprehended. The purpose, the gimmick, whatever you want to call it, of Kony 2012 was to make the warlord Joseph Kony famous, so people would start caring about those kidnapped kids and help fund invisible children to do their work in bringing Kony down. The plan worked in that people did start caring. People gave donations to the cause, politicians joined in, everybody was talking about Kony. And then everything went wrong. So, wind back your clock to March 2012, because this, if you didn't know already, is the Kony 2012 episode.
Starting a business can seem like a daunting task, unless you have a partner like Shopify. They have the tools you need to start and grow your business. From designing a website to marketing to selling and beyond, Shopify can help with everything you need. There's a reason millions of companies like Mattel, Heinz, and Allbirds continue to trust and use them. With Shopify on your side, turn your big business idea into... Sign up for your $1 per month trial at shopify.com/special offer.
Flightless bird touchdown in America. I'm a flightless bird touchdown in America.
Rob.
David.
2012. What do you remember what you were doing back then? Can you I was just trying to think about this. I was a journalist in a newsroom in New Zealand.
2012 was the year the world was going to end, right? That was another year.
Oh, yeah, great movie.
Yeah. I think I remember being like paranoid about that.
That was like a Mayan calendar thing, right?
Yeah.
Where were you? Were you podcasting
Chicago?
then? Or...
No, not podcasting.
No,
I was
not
still
even
living
close
in
to that.
Chicago at that point.
It was a different world.
Yeah, I mean, I remember Invisible Children because they had a lot of incorporation into different bands. Like I remember them being out at Delta Spirit shows and having like tables where they were.
So they were like present and cool in the culture at the time, right?
Yeah.
Like they were there
absolutely.
with the youth.
Yeah.
Doing their thing.
Yeah.
Being cool. This is my Invisible Children shirt.
You bought that in 2012?
No, so I got this ironically, which is maybe a bit of a cynical thing to do. I got this probably 2013 after all that had gone down. Mm-hmm. It had made it to New Zealand. It was in an op shop. I saw it. I was like, I must have this. I feel slightly bad because in the audio documentary for this episode, I told a few people that I had it, but I didn't say I had it ironically. I was like, I have the shirt. But Hayden and I have always had this thing where like he very earnestly got into it. And I, for whatever reason, was just deeply
cynical.
Right or wrong, cynical about it.
I get you being that way.
Yeah, that was my default.
Yeah.
What was it like with your friends and family around you at the time? Was it a thing or did it pass you by?
It was a thing, but I don't remember it being a big thing.
Okay.
I mean, I knew about it and people were talking about it and pushing it for a period.
Because I'm just so curious, people listening to this, who is like with the Streisand effect. Some people are like, never heard of it. This is really interesting. Other people being like, oh yeah, that thing.
Well, this was also like early days of things becoming viral.
Yeah.
The first viral video was, I think this is also up for debate, but in
generally though,
2005, Lonely Island and SNL put out their Lazy Sunday digital short.
Holy shit.
And that was like, YouTube was like 5 months old at that point. I don't think it was up there legally. I think someone ripped it, put it up on YouTube, and it went viral. And then I think NBC also had it taken down and tried suing YouTube for a ton of money.
And that would have been before social media as well. So like people are just sharing it around on like email and like word of mouth and stuff, which is another crazy thing. I don't want to pivot too much here, but Hayden mentioned Cracker Barrel.
Yes.
I missed all this.
Oh, you don't know anything about this?
He mentioned it. But my understanding is that Cracker Barrel had a logo with an old man sitting down.
Do you know what Cracker Barrel is?
No, I know nothing. Tell me.
Okay,
Like, what
so
the hell?
It's like a road trip stop place.
Okay.
It is like half home goods, like real. It's like a giant gift shop when you enter to wait for your table, and then it's like dinery food, and then they have.
It's not what I expected.
They have some game at the table that you can play too, and like big checkers. I remember as kids always
so it's like
wanting to play it.
family orientated.
Yeah, like Southern vibes.
So do you go there? Like, do you go there to shop or to eat?
No,
and
you go
as
to
a bonus. You'll pick
then,
up like a set of forks or something. Like
it's like half of the place is gift shop.
This is wild.
You like enter through the gift shop, put your name down, and there's always a long wait.
So wait, they changed. They took the man off the old man off the logo.
Yes,
and
so it's been around forever.
Okay,
and they just rebranded to like a simplified design. And I think they like changed a bunch of the interior design of the space too, and simplified it. But it was a place like I remember for my bachelor party.
Yeah, Cracker Barrel.
2015, we drove from Chicago to Nashville and stopped at a Cracker Barrel on the drive to eat.
Oh, amazing.
And one of our friends was vegetarian. And they told him that he ordered like a combo breakfast thing. And they told him if he got meat with it, the meal would be cheaper.
Incredible.
So it was,
That's
and he was
the
just like,
vibe of
no,
Barrel.
I don't eat meat. I don't want the meat.
Yeah, I
and
don't want the
well,
meat.
yeah, but if you add this, you'll save $3 on this combo meal.
How does that math work?
Yeah,
I just said math and not maths.
Become more American.
Wait, so they took the man off, and America collectively sort of lost its mind. They said, put the old man back on the logo. We want the old man.
Yeah, and like the outside had rocking chairs you can go sit on while you wait.
Look, there's always the risk with this podcast, right, of like just preachy and being political, but like it's a perfect example because I was thinking as well, 2012 Sandy Hook happens, right?
Yeah.
It's one of the most like, it's a school shooting that we all know about. There's been a school shooting this week, right?
Yeah, today.
Yeah, today. Fuck. But America can get on board very quickly with like changing a logo back. Gets real angry about it.
Yeah, but not gun control.
Gun control. And I was away last week filming a sizzle for what might be a doc I want to work on. And as part of that, I ended up in a gun range shooting for the first time an AK-47. Have you fired one of these things?
No.
It was weird because I had my sort of visual brain on being like, it's good footage shooting one of these guns, and I'm going to be obviously awkward doing it because I don't know anything about guns.
Yeah.
But I just had this really fucking horrible experience firing it where I was just like, it's
a killing machine.
It's a killing machine. It's not used for anything but killing people.
Yes.
It's for killing people. Americans love it. And it just, as I was firing it, I just was thinking school shootings. That's all I could think about.
Yeah.
But it's very, and I'm not making my point very logically here, but I just think it's kind of nutty how quickly as a country can get together and be like, bring that old man back on the Cracker Barrel logo.
Yeah.
And everyone's on board.
How effective outrage can be over a brand change,
brand.
How ineffective outrage over something much more serious like gun control is. The impact of Cracker Barrel having a different logo versus the impact of kids being safe in school should be able to be prioritized differently.
It's real mad. And it's almost, I feel like an idiot talking about it because nothing ever changes and like everyone weighs in. But it's just, I just think occasionally you have to just go like, what the hell is going on? This is, because America is so good at coming together, but over the dumbest shit.
Yeah.
It's like, no, we should get together over like the kids that have been gunned down by this gun that America apparently loves that's only there to kill people.
Yeah. So did they effectively change the logo back?
It's gone back.
Oh, it's
the
gone
old
back
man's
already.
back.
Okay.
Yeah. So they lost the old man. They just had the word Cracker Barrel, the logo, the font. The old man's back.
People get really fired up over change. I think like Gap had something similar a while back where they rebranded and people were pissed. People that are mad about that, how often are they actually going to Cracker Barrel?
I'd argue you'd think every day, right?
Yeah,
it's like fundamentally like
I don't think there's one nearby us.
No.
And I saw a lot of people posting about that logo. I think, yeah, people don't like change, and it definitely has this nostalgic factor. It was like going to church, like type morning vibes, going to eat breakfast there.
And I get it. Like I have associations with like certain places for like, I don't know, I get it, but also the amount of angst around it is just it's so surprising.
Well, then at the end of the day, it's a business, and I mean, people have the right to choose to support it or not, too.
Apparently, the old man was called Uncle Herschel.
Checks out.
That was his name. That's who they removed. Random fact, in 91, an intra-company memo called for employees to be dismissed if they did not display normal heterosexual values. Which is, I think, says all you need to know about Cracker Barrel.
Yes. All right, Kony 2012.
Yeah, Kony 2012. Should we just play the documentary?
I think so.
Learn about it, and then we'll break it down after.
Yeah.
Chapter 1, The Intern.
I am Lily. I live in Seattle, Washington. I'm from New Hampshire, but I've lived in Seattle for 10 years now.
We first heard from Lily on Flightless Bird many months ago when she wrote in with an episode idea. It was a story she knew really well, a story that started for her in the mid-2000s.
So one day when I was like 14, like I said, I grew up in New Hampshire, a really small town, 1,000 people. I was in our local coffee shop, and there were some really cool-looking kids that I didn't know and didn't recognize. And they were clearly part of Invisible Children because the Invisible Children van was parked outside, and I had no idea what that was. And being the nosy 14-year-old that I was, I just went up and started talking to them, and I was like, "What's Invisible Children? Who are you? Why are you here?"
She talked to those cool teens for ages, and as someone who'd never left the small town of Rumney, population 1,498, she suddenly found her world getting bigger.
And they actually showed me one of the films. They showed me like a little bit of it and then gave me a DVD to take home and watch. And my mind was blown.
She doesn't remember the exact name of that film, but Invisible Children had been making a bunch of stuff before they made Kony 2012, all focused on raising awareness about the tens of thousands of child soldiers in Uganda. Lily knew right back then in the cafe she wanted to work for Invisible Children.
So I went to college and hated it and on a whim decided to apply for an internship, and they were really competitive internships at the time. So I did not expect to get it. And then I got it, and I dropped out of college and I moved across the country to California, and I left New Hampshire for the first time.
She dropped out of college in 2011 and started at Invisible Children in January of 2012.
So it kind of became my dream job. It was really amazing. There was like a lot of magic, I would say. Just a bunch of young kids really excited to be there. I think there was something like 60 interns, and there was staff, a lot less than that, who were like all a little bit older than us, but still, I think, not even over 30. So still really young. And everybody was just really creative and really excited to be there. And we all lived together in one house.
It must have been a big house.
Yeah, it was. Not big enough for 60 people, but it was big.
Talking to Lily about this big house and about the office, it felt like talking to someone who'd lived in an influencer hype house and worked at TikTok HQ or something. You know, everything just turned up to 11. Was there any point in this where you were like, that you're all in this house together, super charismatic, all wearing these t-shirts? Was there any moment where you're like, this is a bit culty or a bit like too intense?
Yeah, the cult jokes were flying for sure. I mean, even to this day, honestly, like we all kind of like, was that a cult? Was it not a cult? And on record, it was not a cult. But yeah, it was really, we were really insulated from the rest of the world, and not because anybody told us we had to be, not because, but we like it, lived that whole experience. It was our whole lives. We ate every meal at the office. We sometimes slept at the office. There was nothing else. A lot of like musical theater kids. There was always a lot of singing and dancing. Jed specifically, Jed is like a super creative guy. He is also really well connected to cool people in LA, than San Diego. So I remember, I think he brought in some like famous dancers to come teach us a dance to a cool song. And I don't know, it was just really fun.
Jed is Jedidiah Jenkins, a really key part of Invisible Children and the documentaries they made. Tell me about Jedidiah and his vibe.
Jed is, I don't know him I don't know him super well now at all. I didn't know him super well then, but everybody knows Jed. That's like the vibe. Jed is like just kind of a magnetic human being. I think everybody and anybody that comes into contact with Jed feels like they're really special. Like he just like makes you feel special. I feel like his title was something like director of ideas or director of imagination or something silly like that.
Looking online, I think the title was director of ideology, so close enough.
He and Jason were, I think, best friends at the time. They seemed like best friends at the time, so they were really close. Jason, one of the founders.
The story of co-founder Jason Russell and what happened there, we'll get to that. But to understand what happened there, we have to talk to Jed, which brings us to Chapter 2, Jed. I meet up with Jed in what I'd sort of describe as an old cabin up in the hills around Hollywood. We've been exchanging texts for a few weeks, and he greets me with a big, giant smile. He hasn't really talked to anyone about Kony 2012 since this all went down, but today, well, he's talking about it.
My name is Jedidiah Jenkins. We're currently in my little kitchen.
We're here to talk about Kony 2012. I was just telling you earlier, I have in New Zealand a red Kony 2012 t-shirt because I was excited by the campaign. And like here we are years later. Yeah.
It was called Cover the Night, where we were going to wear the shirt and put posters everywhere to make Kony famous.
I still have my red shirt. I actually brought it from New Zealand to LA with me. I like collecting bits of pop culture. And Kony 2012, it's pop culture. Anyway, I wanted to know how Jed came to be such an intrinsic part of Invisible Children almost 2 decades ago now.
I went to USC in Los Angeles with one of the founders of Invisible Children, Jason, and we were very dear friends. Then I went to law school. And as I was leaving law school, I felt very disenchanted with the world, and I wanted to do something good. And so my friend had started this organization where he was going to end a war with child soldiers. I was like, okay, how can I help? And so I moved to San Diego and I started helping with them in 2006 was my first year. And it was just the most exciting place to be on the planet. You're just surrounded by young people trying to do something like stop the abduction of child soldiers. It just was like the most exciting possible thing. And it was this dawn of the internet where the world was connected. Like I had friends in Ugandans who are messaging me on Facebook every day. And I'm like, this is my friend. It was the techno-optimism era. And we felt like this flashpoint of that moment. And so ramping up to Kony 2012, we had made 10 documentaries and toured them around the United States in high schools.
Jed and his team would take these short documentaries all around America, showing them in schools, churches, whoever would have them. They'd bring in kids from Uganda to help spread the message. These documentaries were all around 30 minutes long with names like Go and Together We're Free. What we now know is Kony 2012. The original vision for that was a bit different. It was going to be their first feature-length documentary, a doc destined for film festivals and the big screen.
Originally, the documentary that was made called Invisible Children was just a film that was like trying to go to Sundance. It was just to basically talk about these kids who were leaving their home and sleeping in the bus park in the center of Gulu to avoid being kidnapped at night by the LRA, Kony's rebel group. And they made this documentary and they started showing it. Sundance didn't want it. So they were like, well, this is something that people need to know about. So they started showing it at schools and churches. And people were very moved. How can we help? And so they were like, I guess we'll just start an organization. And they realized that most people don't want to sit through a sad documentary about hurting children. And so how can we make them? Two things. One, make the films fun and emotional. And two, show them at schools and churches where kids have to watch them. But we were all in our 20s, so we knew what kids wanted to see, which was if you're going to be emotional about somebody who doesn't look like you, who lives in a mud hut thousands and thousands of miles away, you don't understand life, you have to make them empathize with them by making them seem like a kid just like you. And so the films had them dancing to Jay-Z. I mean, this is all real. This is like their real life. Is that these kids are just like us. They just happen to be born in a war zone. And so it was really these humanizing films, and we would tour them each semester. We'd make a new film every semester and tour them around and get kids to start clubs, Invisible Children clubs, and they would raise money, and then they would build schools. And if your high school in America raised the most money, then you won a trip to go to Uganda to see the school you were building. It's very amazing. So we did that for 6-7 years. And then we had made 10 films. We'd gotten a bill passed in the Obama administration to help pursue Kony. Like we had done big things, like rallied the government.
Yeah, huge things.
Yes. And Kony, the world didn't care. And one of our policy partners, which was an organization called Resolve Uganda in DC, they were sitting around, and this was soon after Osama bin Laden had been killed. And he said, God, I just wish Kony was famous because we spend so much time telling people about this. We have to first educate them and then get them activated. And so we were like, the whole idea behind Kony 2012 was this is the last movie we're going to make, and we are going to make Kony famous. And so how do we make him famous? We had always toured our films, and we would sell our films as like a fundraiser. Like you'd get a DVD for $15. Now we were going to push all our chips in and be like, we're just uploading this on YouTube for free. We'd never done that.
Chapter 3, Going Viral. Doing big numbers on YouTube back in 2012? Well, there was Justin Bieber's boyfriend, Pitbull was doing pretty well, and Psy was there too. So when Invisible Children decided to forgo DVDs for YouTube, they had no idea what to expect.
So we had this whole plan of like, we are going to get to 500,000 views. Like that means 500,000 people know who Kony is, which is a big deal.
And it would be a big deal.
Yes. I mean, yes, for like this little documentary made by these kids in San Diego. I remember my friend push publish. In the first 24 hours, I think we had 1 million views, which we wanted 500,000 in a year. So we were gagged beyond. I mean, the elation was so electric. We were like, this might work. We have been sending kids for 6-week tours to high schools in the boondocks to tell this story. And now the miracle of the internet, which we have loved, is going to save these kids. It was the most electric feeling of my life.
The director of Kony 2012, the main guy at Invisible Children, Jason, was getting a lot of calls. If he wasn't on the phone, he was on the news. CNN, BBC, ABC. I think I probably saw him on the 6 p.m. news in New Zealand. And Jed, he was getting calls too.
I got a phone call from Rihanna. My phone was blowing up. My phone rings 4 times in a row. And I'm at dinner and I'm like, who is that? So I leave dinner and I go, hello. And it is my friend who's a music video director. And Rihanna had called him and said, I just saw this film and I've never wanted to get involved with something more. And he goes, I know that guy. I went to Africa with them because he came to see our projects. So anyway, they call me. She was like, I've never been so moved. I want to do anything you tell me. I want to meet you. So, I mean, it was like the craziest.
Your brain's exploding.
Brain's
what?
exploding.
Rihanna's just called me?
Yeah,
what?
yeah. And this is the thing we had been working for. Like, we believed the millennial generation is the first generation that's fully connected to the whole world. We have access to the internet. We can know and learn anything. What is that going to do? It's going to create global empathy and potentially world peace. This was deeply our ethos. It was amazing. And there we had like 80 interns every semester, and we would bring over 15 or 20 Ugandans. And it was just so amazing. And this was another reason why it hit so hard, is because these roadies had been showing this film for 2 months. And so a lot of people in the Invisible Children clubs all around America had already seen the film, but it wasn't uploaded on YouTube yet. They had seen it in a screening. In the screening, the roadies said, okay, you guys, on March 5th, we are going to upload this, so you need to share it. And this coincides with the invention of the Facebook newsfeed. So now your third cousin that you happen to be friends with on Facebook posted this video. And then also your ex-girlfriend posted it. And all of a sudden you're seeing it. Now you got to watch it. And that created this spiral of virality that was unintended.
Okay, so wait. This is going crazy. People are watching. Your numbers of views are going up. People are talking about it. It's spreading around the world. I'm wearing a t-shirt in New Zealand. What's the next step? How's the money coming in? I can't even remember how that was done. Like, how are people donating and what did that side look like?
The main way money was coming in was we had, at the end of the actual film, is a commercial for the action kit, which is a box that has a t-shirt in it and a poster and a bracelet. And that entire box was meant for April 15th or whatever that day was, which is Cover the Night. So you buy this thing and you had a month and a week.
How much was it? Like 25 bucks?
It had been 25 years of the conflict. So we were like tying everything together. And the kit probably cost us $10 to make, but we sold.
So that was flying out the door.
Yeah, we sold, I don't know, 1 million of them. We sold a lot.
I don't want to gloss over the smart genius of all this. Jed and Jason and the whole team, they did something incredibly savvy with Kony 2012. They didn't know how crazy it was going to get, but it wasn't just some kind of blind luck. They were keenly observing other videos online and trying to understand what made things pop.
For example, there was a Vimeo video about juggalos called American Juggalo.
One of my favorite things.
Ever. And it was 23 minutes long. And I remember when we were talking about this, I go, the movie has to be shorter than 30 minutes. Because I remember clicking on the Juggalo thing because it was a longer one on Vimeo. And it started with a 2. And I go, I can watch that.
We had an identical experience with that. So I can do this. I will watch.
Yeah. It's like, okay, it starts with a 2. And so we made Kony 2012. And when we were done, and it was just how we wanted it, it was like 31 minutes long. And so we shaved individual film slices off scenes, and the final film is 29 minutes and 58 seconds.
Okay, so some bad things are about to happen in this story. That's usually the way, right? Good things happen, and then some bad things come along. That's where we're at. Chapter 4, The Response Video. The first bad thing that happened is that the internet, the way it was set up, the new functions it performed, which had been so good to them for a few days, it was about to turn on them. When for you was like the first inkling of some negativity coming in or something being a bit,
So it started where this coincided with a new feature of YouTube, which is YouTube will automatically suggest the next video. Very early on, a young girl in Canada who her father is from the Ugandan diaspora, got on there and she just made a response video to Kony 2012. She did this in like 3 hours. And her response video was, my dad is from Uganda and he says Joseph Kony's dead. So I think this is fake. And the thing is, we just spent 30 minutes educating people about something they didn't know about. So there's no other frame of reference. So then they see a Ugandan daughter saying Kony is dead. And then it was fucking confusing.
Yeah, holy shit. You've got this almost informal follow-up to your documentary that everyone that's watching is going to watch this.
Yeah. Then all of a sudden, lots of people believe her. So now when somebody posts Kony 2012, they reply, oh my God, you're so embarrassing. You don't know, this is fake.
The pushback to that documentary, it spread, and quickly. This is one of the first cases I can remember of an online story moving this fast.
Gawker, Reductress, New York Post, of course, internet news publications were just posting immediate rumors and lies.
Suddenly, people were outside the Invisible Children office protesting. They had signs, they had loudspeakers. There was this idea, and it still persists today, that if Kony was dead, or at the very least no longer in Uganda, and this is a $25 pack people like me are ordering, and then this video has been seen 100 million times, there's so much money, it must all just be a giant scam.
So we weren't used to people hating us. Also, when you lead with your heart, you just really deeply believe in what you're doing, and then people are spitting on you or whatever. People came and protested.
I think a big part of this, and it's something Jed acknowledges, is that there was this whole white savior thing going on. People were now openly mocking the idea of a bunch of white kids in San Diego trying to end a war. So that was also part of the conversation going on back in 2012. And the rumors and speculation were just running out of control.
And then we're talking to our Ugandan team partners. A lot of the Ugandan diaspora left Uganda after Museveni became president, and they hate Museveni. And so they believe that Museveni is behind this film. He's financing this film against a fake boogeyman, so the United States government will give him more power and give him money. So they're thinking this is all made up by their enemy. I mean, it's like in COVID when they have this amazing technology comes through with the mRNA vaccine, but you've never heard of mRNA since AP Bio. You don't even know what you're talking about. And then the next person goes on TikTok and says, that's going to fuck up your blood-brain barrier. And you're like, well, wow, what's a blood-brain barrier? All that you don't know cascades into paralysis or cynicism. And so all of a sudden there was this wave of cynicism. I mean, as you get older, that you just learn that pretty much doesn't matter what technology you inject into a human. It's new and our DNA is 2 million years old. We're gonna be idiots all the way down. Turtles all the way down.
The stress of becoming a villain overnight was weighing on Jed, but it was weighing on his boss, Jason, a lot more. Chapter 5. Breakdown. A week ago, their phones had been blowing up with celebrities and news stations wanting to get involved in a positive way. Now every phone call was about putting out a fire.
Jason is trying to plug the holes in the ship, and he's nonstop doing press. And he so deeply believes anybody that in the entire history of our organization, if someone ever didn't believe in what we were doing, whether it's white savior complex or working with the UPDF, which is the Ugandan military, to pursue the rebel group. Some people did not like that idea because they're pacifists or, whatever. He was like, call me. Here's my phone number. I'll talk to you. I have nothing to hide. I'll talk to you for 6 hours because I want you to at least know my perspective, even if we don't. Whatever. That was his entire MO.
Yeah, and that's manageable when you're talking to a few people, not when the entire world wants to talk to you about this thing.
It was very that. And so he didn't sleep for 7 days. And then ultimately, right as we're plugging holes and trying to do our best, whatever, it breaks his brain. And then, he is having a full mental health crisis. And I came to the office that day. Our interns are 19 years old and they're all just crying.
Maybe this is a good time to check in on one of those interns, Lilly, who you heard from earlier.
This is one of the most vivid memories of the whole time. We were in the office. We were going to have a party for some reason in the big conference room. Remember, the conference room had these tables, built-in tables that went around the whole entire thing, and there was champagne lining. There was just 30, 40, 50 bottles of champagne lining all the tables. So we were all sitting in there waiting, and then our boss, Zach, came in, and we called him Coach Barrows, Zach Barrows. He was very much a sports coach. I don't know, everybody loved him. He came in and I remember he walked up to the front so fast and so his arms crossed, and everybody was still happy except for one guy sitting in the corner, Johnny Pockets. I don't know why we called him that, but we did. And he was crying with his head in his hands. And then Zach came in It was clear something was wrong. And Zach just got up to the front of the room and said, "Jason," and then started crying. Like, couldn't get the words out. We all were like, "Jason, what?" Like, I thought he had maybe been hurt or died or something. I wasn't sure. I don't think anybody like fully knew exactly what had happened for a little while. But he told us because he said Jason had a pretty public episode. So this thing happened. Somebody filmed it and sold it to TMZ. And TMZ told us they would give us 2 hours to like figure out what to do with that information, tell our staff. They released it within like 10 minutes.
I don't want to do a TMZ myself and make the story all about that moment, because that moment was a mental health crisis. And why dwell on anyone's mental health crisis? So just a simple fact, on March 15, 10 days after Kony 2012 had come out, Jason was arrested after appearing naked on an LA street, and people filmed it.
There were a lot of tears and confusion and like, I don't know. I remember feeling like it's just over. Like everything's just done. Like all of these years of work that so many people have put in and all of the good that we did is just like, what is going to happen now? And also so much concern for Jason. Like we all loved Jason so much and knew that he was really, there was a lot of stress on Jason in that time. So wanting to make sure he was okay and like trying to understand what even was going on. I mean, talking about that moment specifically makes me like, I'm trying not to cry. It's like very, it's really painful and it's really sad.
Back then, Jed didn't see his friend's breakdown coming. Or rather, in hindsight, he saw the signs, but he didn't know what he was looking at. Remember, they'd all just ridden this massive high and then this insane low.
I had no experience with this, so I didn't know what the signs were. I just knew that he was, now I know the terms. It's like forced speech where somebody like never stops talking. Like they can't listen. They believe they're getting downloads and they're hearing things. And like, now I know the signs, but I did not. I was just like, oh, he needs to sleep.
Yeah, he's hyper. He's not shutting up. He's saying some weird stuff.
Yeah.
You don't expect this to happen.
And then when that happened, we became a joke to the level where South Park did a whole episode. And they made a song called Jackin' It in the Streets. Imagine dedicating your life to trying to end a war and you end up a South Park joke. That is tragedy on a level.
Stay tuned for more Flightless Bird. We'll be right back after a word from our sponsors. Support for Flightless Bird comes from Quince. Now, here in a lot of America, cooler temperatures, they are rolling in, thank God. And as always, Quince is where I'm turning for fall staples that actually last. Quality. From cashmere to denim to boots, the quality holds up and the price completely blows me away.
Quince has all the kinds of fall staples you'll wear nonstop, like super soft 100% Mongolian cashmere sweaters starting at just $60. And their denim is durable and fits right. And their real leather jackets bring that clean classic edge without the elevated price tag.
As for what makes Quince different, they partner directly with ethical factories and skip the middleman, so you get top-tier fabrics and craftsmanship at half the price of similar brands.
I just got a new wallet from Quince, which I'm very excited about. And I got Vinny a cute little button down that he's going to wear.
I like it when kids are not in like silly kids clothing, but like they could just be little adults.
Yeah, grown up. They're in grown up clothes. Which
that's
is
the best.
The best part of Quince is you've got women's, men's, kids. They've got bedding. They got bath, cookware, travel. They've got it all.
Yeah, not just clothes. But if you do want clothes, keep it classic and cool this fall with long-lasting staples from Quince. Go to quince.com/bird for free shipping on your order and 365-day returns.
That's QUINCE.com/bird. Free shipping and 365-day returns. Quince.com/bird.
Support for Flightless Bird comes from BetterHelp. Now, one simple fact about life is we turn to some really weird, funny places for support, but not everyone in your life is a therapist. Not everyone is the one, and sometimes your friends just don't want to listen to you moaning on and on. So find your right match with BetterHelp.
Yeah, sometimes you need someone a little more qualified that can take a more objective view.
Yeah,
of
like
what
your
you have to say
hairdresser
than your
might
friend.
not be the one. Barista's probably sick of you moaning on in the coffee line. Sometimes a therapist is actually the right option.
Yes, and BetterHelp has been helping people find that match for over 10 years with a 4.9 rating out of 1.7 million client session reviews.
I like knowing a therapy session is coming up because I can just store some of my stuff for that session, and just knowing it's coming up kind of feels like a weight off my back. And with BetterHelp, it's fully online. You can pause your subscription whenever you need to, and you can switch therapists anytime at no extra costs. And I think being able to swap is a really great thing to have built into this.
Yeah, they have over 30,000 therapists.
It's a lot.
It's the world's largest online therapy platform, having served over 5 million people globally. And it's super convenient. You can join a session with a therapist just with a click of a button, helping you fit therapy into a busy schedule, busy life.
And as the largest online therapy provider in the world, BetterHelp can provide access to mental health professionals with a diverse variety of expertise. Find the one with BetterHelp. Our listeners get 10% off their first month at betterhelp.com/bird.
That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/bird.
This episode is brought to you by LifeLock. Between two-factor authentication, strong passwords, and a VPN, you try to be in control of how your info is protected. But many other places also have it, and they might not be as careful. That's why LifeLock monitors hundreds of millions of data points a second for threats. If your identity is stolen, they'll fix it, guaranteed, or your money back. Save up to 40% your first year. Visit LifeLock.com/podcast for 40% off. Terms apply.
Chapter 6, The End. When did you walk away from realizing you couldn't keep going with this?
Invisible Children continued for about another year and a half as it was. Then that's when Invisible Children as an organization moved to DC and began strictly being like a policy and on the ground work. But Kony is hiding in a forest with no roads the size of Texas. So, like, what are you going to do? I mean, we can try. We're really trying, but it's really hard to find a needle in the haystack. Once Kony 2012 blew up this organization, which was my whole life, I stayed another year to just help in any way I could.
Looking back at it now, very broad kind of hack question, but like, what would you do differently? Is there something you look at and you say, I wish we'd fucking done that?
Hindsight being what it is, I would protect my friend who has bipolar 1 from being that exposed and in the limelight. Like, that was damaging. I would have a suite of information explaining our programs ready to go for people that wanted to learn more. And then I would also told if this goes big, you need to understand that once you're in the audience of the world, a sizable portion is not going to like you. That is just the nature of size. And so it was this little charity that we wanted it to be famous, but we just didn't know the cost. We were a group of people that were earnest. And so cynicism was something that we actually actively rejected. Because a lot of the charity space, NGO space is cynical because they've done this for 30 years. It's so hard to make change. And we had that delicious naivete of youth where it's, okay, well, if you tell me something's impossible, I'm going to try twice as hard and I'm going to prove you wrong. I mean, that's the brilliance of youth.
They've all had time to reflect on this. And this whole experience, if experience is the word, it's sat with them for over a decade now. And while there are real criticisms of the project, like oversimplifying really complex topics and people and places and timelines, everyone I've spoken to who was involved at the time is adamant no one was running off with any money. But still, with more wisdom and age, there are some things they look back on that they know they could have done differently.
Is there any sort of key areas where you're thinking your perception has shifted on the project? What does that look like?
Yeah, I'm trying to decide if I'm okay saying this, but the one thing that I like have really thought about and had a really hard time with is the kind of model that we used in the US when we were screening these films. Teams of Roadies were 3 people, mostly from America, some from New Zealand, some from Canada, some, I don't know, mostly from America. And then every team had 1 person from Uganda on the team. And that person had some like really personal connection to the conflict and the Lord's Resistance Army. Some of those people had, and they were all incredible. I love my teammate, Godfrey, so much. Yeah, some of those people had like really, really horrific stories, really horrific trauma. Like unimaginable, like forced to kill their families, kind of like as children. And we brought them on tour with us and we screened a film, and then they got on stage and just like shared their story with an audience every day. And like, oh my God, the trauma that must have, like, asking these people to relive the most horrific trauma ever. And as far as I know, there was no therapy provided, no psychological help in any of this. Like, we didn't even really talk about it. Like, it was said, like, this is gonna be emotional for them, blah, blah, blah. But I like want to go back and not do that part of it.
I know there'll be people listening to this that are like, I mean, yeah, I paid my $25 to go and find this warlord. What happened to the money? What went on there? So many, the money. How do you feel about all of that?
I feel so unbelievably good about our finances and always did. It went to building radio towers. It went to building schools. It went to policy experts. It went to our staff in Uganda. It went to our staff in DC. It paid for campaigns and other films that we made to explain the first one.
You're not out here talking about this a lot. Well, you don't talk about it. Like, is there a big misconception you'd like to clear up besides, we've already cleared some of them up, but is the one thing you're like, that just drives you a bit nuts?
There were so many conceptions that I don't actually know the consensus. I meet people when they find out that I worked on this film. They're like, oh my gosh, that changed my life. Oh my God, did we ever, like the most beautiful things. I hear people casually be like, what happened to that naked guy? And I'm like, actually, that's one of my best friends. Whenever you see something on the news, that's a real person. And so I do some empathy education. And I feel the biggest misconception is that Jason, the founder, was either dishonest or went crazy I don't even know what people think about that, but I just wish they knew that he is and was the most amazing man and leader and filmmaker and the biggest heart on the planet. I just wish people really celebrated him as they should. And I hate that it became a fuel or a generator of youth cynicism, because people who really loved it for 2 weeks, they felt embarrassed that they had posted that video, because then all of a sudden they're confused. Is it a scam? Is it real? And I feel like we had an opportunity to really bring forth optimism about making the world a better place. And it just left people being like, oh, well, I guess that's slacktivism. I guess that's not real. That loss of inspiration breaks my heart.
Chapter 7, Coming Out the Other Side. When I first started this episode, I was going to talk to more people involved in the story. I reached out to a bunch of those who were critical of the project back in the day, and no one got back to me. And I was going to talk to a bunch more people at Invisible Children before and after this event, but then I realized I didn't really need to. Jedidiah and Lilly painted a portrait of what it was like to be in the storm, and then in the eye of the storm, and then back in the storm again. And also what it was like when that storm passed entirely. The storm that was Kony 2012 left a bunch of devastation, but the people I spoke to, they're okay. Lilly is happily employed at a small family-owned creative agency. Rihanna might not be calling up, but she's doing good work. Jed is a really good author. I'd personally suggest his book Mother Nature. There's a comma in there, which is why I said it like that. And Jason, by all accounts, he's doing okay too, because he's surrounded by friends. And I find that sort of remarkable, that after all that shit went down, friendships survived. You might not be able to talk on this because it's too private or personal, but do you remember the first time you talked to Jason as he was coming out of his mental health crisis and as he's clocking what's happened, because that's this whole other thing.
I thought I lost my friend because I actually thought I have a family member who in her late teens developed schizophrenia. So she was like a darling angel and then has never been the same. And so that's my only experience with anything like a mental health crisis. And so
I feel like, oh, they've gone.
I'm like, my best friend is now gone, like in a straitjacket forever, is what I thought. And so when he actually came back, it took him a while to spin down and figuring out the right meds and whatever. So when I got to talk to him again, he was still a little amped up, but my friend was in there. My friend was alive. And I was so happy. But I mean, he was devastated on a level. I mean, it's called manic depressive. It's like the depressive was something I've feared for him ever since because it's not his fault. It's truly brain chemistry. I was just happy that my friend was okay. We would just laugh and drink beer and chain smoke or whatever we were doing, trying to just be humans because it felt like we had touched a live wire of like the biggest volt of electricity and we came out the other side singed and fried but alive.
Yeah, Jed painted that so well. I forgot that, like, Facebook just did its newsfeed thing and what a big thing that was. And the whole YouTube recommended videos, all the stuff we take for granted. It's like this perfect storm for this very weird 29-minute, 48-second video.
Yeah, all these things that are now essentially gone now.
Yeah, completely.
It is interesting, too, the religious aspect.
Yeah, so I didn't really get into that. It's in the background of this.
It's these like smart religious kids that are trying to do good and like earnest and pure. I had totally forgot. I have a friend, Stu, that during that time too, he created this company, Crochet Kids, with a couple of his friends.
It sounds so Christian already.
Southern California kids. I think they did a lot with invisible children. They were teaching women in Uganda how to crochet and build their own businesses and have sustainable income. Again, they were all like very religious and like just had these big hearts and were trying to do good.
Yeah, completely. Because then now, this is bringing memories back for me as well. I wasn't a member of this, but we had a thing at my Christian school called the Outreach Team. And the Outreach Team would do outreach and would travel overseas. And Habitat for Humanity, you had that. That's I think an American thing that we had in New Zealand, where you go and build houses for people. And the thing about all of this is that it's this underlying really interesting thing with these religious groups where the intent from the young people doing it like is so pure and they just want to help. But then you've got this added like really weird underbelly of it all where essentially it's like the ultimate goal of the organization is to like spread your religion elsewhere, right? It's that whole thing, which is this other sort of, I would argue, like awful thing under it all, which is like forcing your religion onto this other group. But the kids doing it just want to do this good shit and help, and they are helping.
Yeah, well, I don't think their intentions are totally not. They're growing up in this church, and it is like think of others, and I don't know how much of it is proselytizing.
Oh, 100%. It's more just like in a bigger perspective of like how this stuff works. That's kind of ultimately, and it's like that white savior thing. It's like, here I am, a white person with my superior religion. I'm going to come in to your like shitty like lives and make it better and give you our God, you know? And that's where it can get like very cynical. What I need to remember all the time, and including when I'm cynical about Christianity, is that you look at a lot of the charities doing good work out there. So many of them are religious based.
Yeah,
they're the ones that are doing the work.
I don't even, they're the ones that are like taught how important that is. And I don't even know how relevant it is in like this case either, that they were. If anything, it just makes it even more devastating that these people with such pure intentions at that time, especially, just get like chewed up by the internet.
Oh,
of like
so
the internet
chewed up.
being so new in that form.
I fucking forgot that South Park did an episode.
Yeah.
That's so brutal. Like, South Park goes after the most awful things.
Tom
and
Cruise.
to go, you know? Yeah, completely. Like,
Yeah.
the leader of
R.
like
Kelly.
one of the worst cults in the world.
Yeah.
But they go after this group of people, and like that's such a crazy level. And talking about how there was like such a total lack of cynicism, and it was nothing but earnest. But the internet hates earnest. Like, I hate earnest. Like, I find it really repulsive, which is partly me, and I think partly being from New Zealand. We just hate that. Like, it's like gives me the creeps. But it should be something at times to be like celebrated, right?
Yeah, I mean, that's what just makes it all so heartbreaking. Like, hearing how invested all of these people were in this and doing good and
trying,
what their intentions were, and then internet turns on them.
And so fucking quickly.
And like, this is such a interesting example of early days of just people saying fake news about things, just like making these claims that are
because a lot of the
just
counters were completely unsubstantiated, and like Kony wasn't dead. That was a thing that did the rounds for so long, and like so many people jumped on that straight away. Because you want the thing that's doing well to like fail. Like, that's like a thing that you want to happen. It's like this weird human thing we have.
Yeah, the fact that it was able to just cripple this thing in the way that it did, and kind of the fallout and destruction in its path.
Just that office on that day must have just been, I can't even imagine. I took a few news headlines. I just went through and just sort of did a bit of a timeline. March 7, 2012, Kony fever hits New York. That was like a headline in the Times. That same day, celebs help stop Kony trend on Twitter. So this is like the early stages of like the news reporting on what's been said on Twitter, which is this funny thing.
Yeah. Yeah, even like the fact that Rihanna and these people were tweeting about it, and the Kardashians.
Oprah.
Like, no one's tweeting anymore either.
No. I mean, Twitter's just full of like, it's awful out there. Oprah's not on there. March 8, the next day, The Guardian reviewed Kony 2012 just as a film review. A slick blend of cliche and principle has made this bold polemic against Ugandan warlord Joseph Kony an online sensation. I quite like this review. Russell isn't afraid of brash emotionalism. He tugs and wrenches at the heartstrings. He interviews his cute little boy Gavin and even shows wacky home videos he makes in the garden with spoof explosion effects using the Action Man movie app on the iPhone. But this can get toe-curling, especially when he interviews Gavin about the bad guy he's facing. There's no doubting the force of this film. It's sometimes conceited and cliched, and Russell does not detain the viewer with exactly how much Western intervention he expects and what the downside is. Nevertheless, Kony 2012 lands an almighty punch.
Yeah, it also seems weird, like a review criticizing a documentary that's meant to stop a warlord.
Yeah, I mean, that's the other thing. Like, was it even a documentary? Like, it was like a slick bit of... There's two ways of looking at it, right? It's like a doc, or it's like a very slick ad for an organization, right?
Just the intent of it. I guess at first the intent of it was this is just a film.
Yeah, he's sort of saying like the idea of like critically reviewing a doc on something that is trying to do a good thing is like a bit of a shitty move.
Yeah, like Frontline covering Hurricane Katrina and the footage that they do of all the destruction, and then like some reviewer being like, wow, the way they put this package together.
Yeah, no, that's
really...
a good point. No, I hadn't thought about it in that way. It is kind of, it's a downer. A few days later, this is moving so quick, a headline growing outrage in Uganda over the film. There's growing outrage over a viral internet film viewed more than 32 million people in 4 days. It suggests Africa's longest running conflict is still raging. Al Jazeera did a video story about it, which I'll put in our show notes. So like criticism is growing for this whole thing.
What was the Ugandan take on it? Uganda didn't like it?
It got so complicated. I'm going to play this one report. It's 2 minutes.
Okay.
And it's actually like kind of sums up the vibe.
Over 70 million people have already seen the Kony 2012 video worldwide, but almost nobody has seen it here in northern Uganda, the area worst affected by Joseph Kony's rebel Lord's Resistance Army, because there's little internet access. And so a charity organised a public screening in the town of Lira, inviting local reaction.
It would have been better if initially people in the north looked through and say, we agree to that, it would make sense. And if we had not brought it down here, no one would bring it, and they would be completely excluded.
Kony and the LRA are no longer in Uganda, having fled to neighbouring countries, leaving victims groups like this one trying to rebuild their lives. Many, scarred or maimed for life, have travelled to town to see the film that the world has been talking about. Leo Adongo was abducted by the LRA. He says he'll never forget the day a landmine blew off his arm and killed 4 of his friends as he tried to escape. He's heard about the video on local radio. He says he supports the campaign for Kony's arrest, but he thinks some of the promotion methods sound offensive.
If people in those countries care about us, they will not wear T-shirts with pictures of Joseph Kony for any reason. That would celebrate our suffering.
But Invisible Children are adamant their strategy is justified and effective.
I understand why a lot of people are wondering, is this just some slick kind of fly-by-night slacktivist thing, when actually it's not at all. It's actually it's connected to a really deep, thoughtful, very intentional and strategic campaign.
News of the screening spreads far and a large crowd gathers at sunset. They're expecting to watch a film that documents their suffering as they perceive it. For many people here, the video is simply puzzling. It contains footage of an American man, his son, and it documents events that happened here in northern Uganda years ago. But as the film progresses, puzzlement turns into anger.
There are some kind of people, there are some kind of NGO who are trying to mobilize funds using the atrocities committed in northern Uganda.
We wanted to see how our local people were killed.
Correct.
So these are all white men. These are films different from northern Uganda.
That is why sometimes
rocks are thrown, the screening comes to a halt, and the crowd scatters into the night. Kony 2012 may be the most watched video on YouTube this year, but it clearly doesn't resonate with many of the people it claims it's meant to help. Malcolm Webb, Al Jazeera, in Lira town, northern Uganda.
So yeah, insanely complex politics over all of this, but just the nature of having a bunch of white Americans coming in and like telling their version of the story,
and wearing
who's seen on camera,
and wearing a shirt with this guy on it.
I mean, it's such an American approach of like getting this out. It's like an ad campaign for a good cause of raising money, but like that translates in like really poor form
on a very sensitive subject.
Yeah, I mean, in that news report, you had people who'd lost like limbs, you know, and it got very, very tense, and there are a lot of stories going around like that. April 16th, the Kony sequel comes out. It gets 2% of the traffic of the previous film, so that first one was just such a lightning bolt.
What did that first one end up getting? Was it over 100 million?
I can see what it is. Oh, yeah, reach that. Absolutely. Kony 2012. I'll see what it is at now. So it sits at 103 million views, which
a lot.
Has been surpassed now by like a million other things, but a lot. Comments are turned off, which is fair enough. And then the whole like action kit thing rolls out, which was just not as much of a big deal as you'd expect from the numbers that the video did. So April 21st, 2012, despite over 50,000 people signing up and buying kits, very few people participated. One gathering in Vancouver had 17 people, another in Brisbane, Australia had fewer than 50. This is a story from the Vancouver Sun. The Facebook event page showed over 21,000 people attending. Millions of tweets from around the world led up to last night's event. Yet in Vancouver, at least, controversial NGO Invisible Children's Cover by Night poster campaign failed in its attempt to go offline. So that was that tricky balance of like real world versus online. Still raised a shit ton of money, which went into great causes and like gave money to groups in Uganda. I think it's just that crisp, clear American version of this didn't translate all over the world. And then in 2016, Jason Russell gave a 20-minute TED Talk, which is on YouTube as well. So he came out and started talking about things just in more of a holistic kind of way of what it's like to work on such a big campaign. But yeah, it was, 2 weeks of crazy.
Yeah.
Like 2 weeks of absolute insanity. And I feel like there hasn't been a better example of such a crazy internet story that spread so wide around the world where, as I say, this t-shirt I bought in an op shop in New Zealand.
Well, it was also just the perfect storm of everything, like Jed was talking about, of like the infancy of the internet and in this viral kind of way, and Facebook tweaking their platform and
newsfeed, yeah.
YouTube being what it was at the time, and
what a smart decision to just put it online for free.
Yeah.
Like there was, as you say, there was a time when it was argued against putting stuff out for free. Like, how do we make money off this,
Yeah.
But such a smart thing to do.
Well, when your goal was awareness and getting this in front of people, then it made sense.
I don't know what else to say. Thanks to everyone to talking to me about it for the story, because it was like for me, I found it like a very fun thing to revisit because it's something that I only knew from the outside.
Yeah.
I love looking back on something that happened like over a decade ago and kind of just breaking it down like that. It's so fascinating to me. Okay. Feedback. We've got some banger feedback.
Yeah, you texted me that.
I texted you. I'm very excited.
I don't know
about the feedback. Okay, so for one thing, I'm going to go to homecoming. I'm going to a homecoming football game.
Yep, you texted me that too. I'm a little afraid for you.
Deeply excited. Didn't realize it's different to prom entirely.
Yes.
I'm going to go to the football game. And if I don't get run out of town with my weird New Zealand ways, then I can go to the homecoming dance, which I'm deeply excited about. To be clear, principal has approved it. Teachers are all okay. I'm not just showing up.
Yeah, you'll have a chaperone that's
I
an
won't
adult.
I won't be on TMZ.
Walking you
be
around.
Okay.
So homecoming is, I think, beginning of the school year and prom's end of the school year.
Okay. And the football game is a very big part of it.
Yeah, I guess so.
Oh my God. Did you go to homecoming?
No.
That wasn't your thing
I didn't
at all?
go to any of my school dances.
Okay, same. In New Zealand, I never went to any of our high school balls. That's what we called them.
I only went to a football game for my high school in like junior high.
Did you enjoy it? Or was it just like...
It was, no.
We're so identical in that. I just had no interest. I'm so into homecoming, though, because I just know it from... I can't believe it's a real thing. For me, it's just from like rom-coms that I watched.
Yeah.
I can't believe it. I'm very excited.
I just imagine that movie, Not Another Teen Movie, that was spoofing all of this.
Yeah. I need to rewatch that. I need to rewatch 100 movies before I go.
I can't imagine that ages well, but I bet it's still very funny.
Oh, I'm curious about everything. I'll report back.
Chris Evans is like the quarterback, and I remember his dad trying to set him up with his mom after his breakup.
What? Say again?
Yeah. I mean, it's a very absurd movie, but I remember...
Are you trying to give me plot lines or what I should try and achieve at this homecoming?
I just remember, I remember that scene of he had just broken up with his girlfriend. He's at home and his dad knocks on his door and he's like, you need to meet someone. He brings in his mom.
Right. That was such a thing because American Pie had the whole thing about like Stifler's mom, right?
Yeah. And it had like Varsity Blues and Bubble Boy or American Beauty. Like it was all of those movies. 10 Things I Hate About You, I think, tied into that.
I should rewatch it before I go to my first homecoming, do you think? Or that
just why not?
A lot of people wrote in with some Streisand effects. Something very obvious that we missed, the Jumbotron at the Coldplay concert.
Of course.
Yeah, 2 people caught having an affair. If they'd just done nothing, if they'd just stayed there, the world would have like moved on. But them pretty much running for cover, Streisand effect. Perfect example.
It's sort of a perfect example. It's like a very metaphorical version of it, though.
It is, yeah. I mean, they
didn't
tried
send their
to,
PR team after it to squash it, and then that's how it blew up.
Yeah, completely. It's like they, in the moment, they tried to like make it a nothing.
I mean, I like the parallel a lot, but
yeah. There's a great one out of Australia, an example. So have you heard of Gina Reinhardt? She's Australia's richest woman. That's her on the right. And there's a portrait of her that went up in was it like the National Gallery? Yeah, the National Gallery of Australia. And she demanded that the gallery get rid of this portrait. She's like, this is awful. So, of course, it's suddenly in
Everyone's
every
searching.
newspaper, Australia's richest woman wants this portrait removed. Such a great Streisand effect example.
That kind of happened with Trump, too. There was like a portrait he really hated that was
right.
painted of him.
Yes.
And then everyone was like, well, let's share this.
Yeah, we wouldn't have known about it otherwise.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm very excited about what we're getting to here. Carly wrote in another butcherer of lightning bugs.
Ooh.
A number of people wrote in. I hate to say it, but as a child, I would also pull the butts off lightning bugs and put them on my fingers and glow-in-the-dark rings, or smear their guts on me to write things that would glow in the dark on my arms and legs.
These kids were doing that themselves.
These awful children. Looking back, as an adult, it's absolutely disgusting, and I feel bad. But hey, it happened. All right, this is a bit of feedback.
Yeah, you can't blame a kid for.
No, kids
doing stuff with
we
bugs.
all did horrible shit as kids.
Okay,
I just like that everyone is offering up this information.
Yeah.
It's like I also butchered.
It feels like they had this
bugs.
big weight on their shoulders, and they've just been waiting for the opportunity to
this
admit
obscure podcast has given us a safe space to like talk about this killing spree I went on. Okay, this bit of feedback, in my opinion, has made this entire show worthwhile. If nothing else happened, I'm talking it up too much. I could die happy.
Okay.
The first thing they said, which is always the best thing in feedback, I would like to stay anonymous, please. It's always the best. I recently listened to your podcast episode about Alcor. If you didn't listen, it's about Alcor, an American company who chronically freezes humans in the hope that they can be brought back to life one day. So my brother actually sent me to your episode, and I just had to reach out. It brought back some strange, vivid, and unforgettable memories. Over 20 years ago, I worked and volunteered at Alcor. To this day, it remains one of the most surreal and fascinating chapters of my life. I assisted with 2 cryopreservations, one full body and one neuro, just the head. When you are wondering what it's like to remove the head during a neuro procedure, well, it's pretty much exactly what you'd imagine. A doctor, usually a neurologist, would do the honors with a mallet and a chisel. Yes, a literal mallet and chisel. No lasers, no sci-fi humming noises, just pure old-school anatomy class meets Twilight Zone. I remember standing there at one point thinking, okay, the body's over there, the head's over there in a box. This is my Tuesday. While I was there, several staff members encouraged me to sign up as a member, but I never felt the urge. The idea of waking up alone in the future sounded more terrifying than thrilling. I remember hearing that some members, mostly women, actually added clauses in their contracts requesting not to be revived until after a spouse or loved one. Cryonics is wild, but even in the far future, apparently no one wants to wake up single. That said, the science behind it fascinated me, especially the vitrification process and its potential for organ preservation and transplantation. If we ever get to the point of reliably preserving and restoring organs, that alone could be world-changing. I didn't hear mentioned in your episode that I thought might interest you. The cryostats, the big metal cylinders, don't require electricity. They're cooled entirely by liquid nitrogen. So even during a power outage, things stay perfectly chilled. If the apocalypse comes, Alcor patients might still be the best preserved people on the planet. In situations where a full body couldn't be recovered, say in a plane crash, some have opted to have Alcor preserve whatever tissue they could find. There was this hopeful theory that memory, identity, or at least essence might be recoverable from DNA, kind of like Jurassic Park, but hopefully with more ethics. Back when I was there, the CEO wasn't actually signed up for cryopreservation himself, which always makes me raise an eyebrow. Membership isn't for the ultra-wealthy. It's often just a matter of paying monthly dues and taking out a life insurance policy that names Alcor as the beneficiary. Also, Nat Geo's Naked Science series aired an episode in 2006 called Freeze Me. It covered an actual cryopreservation at Alcor. It's definitely worth a watch. So yeah, I will be tracking down that episode. I just love that someone listened to that and they're like, yeah, I worked there 20 years ago and I was in the room when they cut someone's head off.
Yeah.
Whew. I still can't believe it's a thing that is a thing.
Yep.
I can't believe it. So thank you, anonymous person, for messaging in. Very appreciative of it. And then brings us to the conclusion of another Flightless Bird. Email us at flightlessbirdchat@gmail.com. Love to hear from you. And we will be back next week. Very curious if you had any involvement in Kony 2012. Did you go out and plaster posters all over your city, country, town, village? And do you, like me, still have a red Kony t-shirt? All right. See you next week.
See you next week.